Reddit Red Herrings. That is the topic of today's video. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. And if you're interested in learning about whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America, I encourage you to go to my new free 3-minute online assessment at areyouontracktogetin.com. Again, that's areyouontracktogetin.com, at which you complete a free 3-minute assessment. And once you do, your results will be emailed to you directly and quickly, and they will share with you whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America. So I have recently become aware of the fact that individuals have been mentioning me on Reddit. And I don't know if this is an honor or the opposite of an honor. I don't know. But I dug into it and I saw some interesting information mentioned in concert with my name or my moniker, College Meister. And specifically what I would define as sort of two red herrings. And I want to discuss them today because maybe three sort of red herrings. Just so you know, for those who do not know, a red herring is something that misleads or distracts from a relevant or important question. So again, I found what I deem to be sort of 2.5, maybe 3 red herrings about past comments I've made here, but mentioned on Reddit. So it's a community where people talk about different topics. There's subreddits on different topics like admissions. And this is where I came to learn that I had been mentioned. So thank you for mentioning me, but I want you to make sure you're mentioning me correctly in the future. There were also, by the way, some very nice comments about me on Reddit, including from one individual who apparently binge watched me in Australia, and it helped him get into a great university. So congratulations to you. I'm happy that helped. I'm happy to have played a small role in that process. But let's talk about the 2 red herrings that were mentioned in concert with my name. The first of which is on a thread where the discussion is related to what are your favorite what are your favorite content creators whose college admission advice actually helped you? But I'm going to zoom in on the mention of my name. College Meister is mentioned by one individual as someone who, quote, ain't no one submitting a 5-page resume, dude. So someone basically is saying some sources that I would avoid, and mentions me. College Meister, ain't no one submitting a 5-page resume, dude. So I was taken aback by this because guess what, dude? I have never, in my 18 years of doing this, had one of my students submit a 5-page resume to any college or university. So that is what they call misinformation, or maybe a red herring. I am a very big believer, as my followers know, as those of you in the audience know, in submitting an extracurricular resume on any college application that allows you to upload a full-fledged PDF resume to its supplement. But at no point ever have I stated that you should submit a resume of 5 pages, 4 pages, or 3 pages. I know this because I never have done it. And I have a rule internally that would never allow me to do it because I make sure that my students always limit their extracurricular resumes to 2 pages max. I have had some of the most impressive students over the years, and every single one of them has gotten their extracurricular resume down to 2 pages max. And of course, a lot of students get their resume down to 1 page. So again, I just want to make very clear that that individual has every right to enjoy or not enjoy my videos, or question my videos and question me, but question me on something that I've actually stated factually and believe in, as opposed to questioning me on something that, again, is a red herring. For those of you who do not know what a red herring is, again, a red herring is something that misleads or distracts from a relevant, important question. Okay, so Now, you would maybe know that still if the SAT and or ACT actually had hard vocabulary still and actually had an analogy section. But of course, that was done away with long ago in the dumbing down of the population. But that's another story for another day. And I am going to, by the way, do a video shortly about the topic of the general dumbing down of youth. We will get to that shortly. But that's another video for another day. Here is the next thread. By the way, in that same thread, I should say that a lovely person, a lovely person indeed, said that College Meister golden stuff, meaning they appreciated my content and they actually recommended me. But again, that same person, the same person who badmouthed me before, responded to that person who said College Meister golden stuff with, he is good for general college, not selective admissions. He is way too old school. I'm old school. Well, I do have white hair at this point, as you can see. So I am older. You do not need a thesis for any essay, nor do you need a 5-page resume or pay him to teach you how to build a resume. Well, again, lots of red herrings there, whoever this individual is who keeps bad-mouthing me on Reddit with red herrings. But again, let me make very clear. While I am a big believer in thesis statements in your Common App essay, more power to you if you can have a strong essay without a thesis statement. You go do that. You go try that. And I will promise you that 9 times out of 10, those students who do not even know what a thesis statement is or do not include a thesis statement in their Common App essay ultimately would have had a stronger Common App essay had they had a thesis statement. Now, in terms of the other comment, again, you do not need to pay me anything to learn about my resume advice. I've mentioned it and peppered it into all of my videos over, not all, but many of my videos over the years. I do have, as was sort of alluded to there, a very cheap online course that takes less than 1 hour to complete that you can purchase for just a few dollars. It's how to build an extraordinary extracurricular resume. I highly recommend it. And at no point in that course do I again mention anything about a 5-page resume. So again, I feel really bad. Again, this is actually sort of indicative of the fact that either this person is intentionally trying to obfuscate the truth, or this person really is like, it's not getting through to this person that a resume is never something that I would recommend if it ends up being 5 pages. In either case, it shows a complete misunderstanding or a complete intentional misleading of individuals on Reddit. But whatever the case may be, I am an individual, just like all individuals, who has to earn a living in order to have a house, in order to have food. And so in order to do those types of things, I do charge for my services. The absolutely cheapest product that I offer is the extracurricular resume course, How to Build an Extraordinary Extracurricular Resume. I highly recommend it. It is linked below this video. And it is a wonderful course, a very quick course, a short course that is worth every darn penny that you would pay for it, which again, it's less than $20, which is amazing that I offer it for that course, cheap. And it's highly regarded. It's been purchased by hundreds of individuals online and has a very good ranking. But again, at no point in that course and at no point in any of my past videos have I ever mentioned doing a resume of over 2 pages, because I never have. And beyond that, in terms of the thesis statement on a Common App essay, it's extremely important that you understand that a thesis statement on a Common App essay is a device not because college application readers are requiring it, but it's a device to help the reader focus what he or she is trying to convey in his or her essay, which is why I highly recommend it as something that all students strive to achieve in their Common App essay. So again, that is another sort of red herring that I found about me online. But again, interspersed within this is wonderful regarding nice comments regarding how maybe I've helped individuals as well, which is of course lovely. And I always say you should of course question everything you read online or watch online. No one has a monopoly on the truth or perfect guidance, and what works for one person may not work for someone else. But it is nice to know that for some individuals, I have been regarded as someone who has been of help throughout this process in a way that has benefited them. The final red herring, so I've sort of touched on two. One is, of course, about the resume. One is, of course, about the thesis. The last one is about, is the 7th Common App essay prompt really that bad? This is a Reddit thread from 3 years ago. Again, I'm just coming to learn that I've been mentioned on Reddit. This is why I decided to do this video today. And apparently this has been happening for 4 years, 3 years or more in some cases. Quote, just now I watched a video called Best and Worst Common App Essay Prompts. Now, by the way, just so you know, this particular video is no longer on my YouTube channel because this was referring to my 2020-2021 version of that video. And since at that time, the Common App essay, even if that video actually is still online, I don't know if it is online or not, I don't think it is. But even if it is still online still, that video would not be applicable anymore because they've changed at least one of the Common App essay prompts since that time. But I do have an annual video where I put that out for the current year, and I do have one for this year as well. And this gentleman or lady in this comment is saying in the video, he was so adamant about the 7th prompt, laughing, 7th prompt being the worst of the worst. This is the create your own prompt. And then the person goes on to say, I know his point was that it doesn't give you a sense of direction for your essays like the others prompts do, but I wrote my essay without even looking at the prompts. A lot of the essay advice I read mentioned that that you shouldn't look at the prompts because it'll limit your mind while you're writing. Nevertheless, I think my essay is still good. It does give the overarching theme of 1 to 2 personality traits that I'm trying to show off, and I have 3 anecdotes to show my growth. But I ended up picking the 7th prompt because I was nervous about picking the other more specific prompts. I have no clue if I should worry about picking the 7th prompt when I submitted my application. If anything, I'll just pick a more specific prompt for my regular decision schools. If anyone wants to comment some reassurance, feel free. Thank you. Okay. And then after that, the person got some responses, many of which say, no prompt is better or worse than the others. Thank you. The person wrote back, I'm glad to hear this after watching some random YouTube video. And then other people said, what I read somewhere is that the standard prompts are simply guidance. A lot of this is actually some true stuff. Someone said I had a clickbait video in reference to the video that I produced related to Common App essay prompts. And then someone else said, I definitely disagree. I've only heard the opposite, and loads of admissions officers say they don't even look at the prompt. So again, let me clarify for everyone here who's come to this Reddit Red Herring video. Common App essay readers at selective colleges and unselective colleges alike don't necessarily look to see what essay prompt you're responding to, especially if you're doing a good essay. They in many cases just are happy to have a good essay. It's when the essay is meandering or not focused or is trying to kill too many birds with one stone that they may in fact refer back to the Common App essay prompt you said you were responding to clarify, has this person really stayed focused or responded to the prompt in question? The reason why I really, to this day, still dislike Common App prompt number 7 is that it is basically a license that many individuals look at it sort of a get out of jail free card as basically a way in which to write whatever the heck you want for 650 words or up to 650 words and go wild and have no structure. And that lack of structure, that lack of guardrails, that lack of balance that I see usually produced by students attempting to write whatever the heck they want usually takes someone off a cliff. And that's why I strongly recommend that you tether yourself and hold yourself up to the standard of responding to one of the more structured prompts. I'm still not a fan of prompt number 1 either, frankly, for most applicants. And my favorite prompts are prompts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the current iteration of the Common App. But I will say that is it possible that you could write an amazing essay to prompt number 1 or 7? Absolutely. The vast majority of students are not strong enough writers and have not been taught to stay focused enough in their writing, where prompt number 1 and prompt number 7 would make sense, particularly prompt number 7. Prompt number 1 I'm mainly against because it's an identity prompt, and there are only certain identities that colleges really are interested in hearing more about in an essay. And they have to generally be relatively unique, differentiated, and eccentric. So as a result, I usually tell the average student to avoid prompt number 1. But prompt number 7, Again, more power to you. If you can write an essay without a thesis and also without any guidance as to what you're supposed to accomplish by the end of the essay, and it can be an awesome essay that is well structured, focused, has a clear sort of beginning, middle, and end and point and moral to the story, if you will, that gets the reader to know you better. More power to you if you can accomplish that. What I have found in almost 20 years of doing this is that and this was true even in the beginning, and this is before, education went off the cliff in the early 2000 teens in particular. But at all times, even in the beginning, if you don't have structure in what you're supposed to accomplish in an essay, it's most likely going to be a loosey-goosey, poorly structured essay that you ultimately produce in your final draft. And any extra tools you can use to give yourself more structure, more focus, it forces you to go deeper and narrower with your topic as opposed to broad and shallow. And I'm a big believer in going deep and narrow, because that's going to help the reader see you more, get to know you more, and keep a firm, focused eye on you. You're going to come across as bolder, more specific, more memorable, as opposed to more pastel, more vague, more sketchy, more gray, which again, the broader, more shallow essays generally produce. And that is what usually I have seen is produced when I get my hands on, or a student really wants to write an essay with no structure whatsoever, or in response to no particular prompt. So this has been an education for me. Getting on Reddit at all and seeing that there are comments about me was sort of startling. I'm just one person doing my thing on here, trying to share what I think is sort of the best advice possible for students so they can navigate the college admissions process successfully. Again, I don't know if I should be honored or horrified that I'm being mentioned on Reddit, but it was educational to me to see how my words on past videos are digested by sort of random people. And what the big takeaway I have from it is that some people get me, which makes sense because I'm trying to speak in English and clearly, but other people may intentionally or unintentionally misinterpret comments I make, and it creates in their minds ideas that just never were stated explicitly. Again, if the person was of good faith in stating twice that I had indicated that you should have a 5-page resume, and that was something they truly believed, that's something they imagined. And that's something they imagined because maybe I mentioned the resume course a good amount in the videos he or she watched, and they just extrapolated in their mind that the resume has to be 5 pages. But again, that never was stated explicitly, and I know so because I never would recommend it, because like I said, no resume that a student of mine that I've worked with one-on-one has ever produced has ever been over 2 pages. A final draft. Now, there are some first drafts that could be 3, 4, or 5 pages because a first draft, you want to throw everything in the kitchen sink on that resume. And then we pare it down together when I work with you one-on-one to make sure that we only save the very best objects on that resume for the final draft. And that final draft would never again be over 2 pages in an extreme situation, 2 pages at most. But again, if that person was in good faith on Reddit stating the fact that I had actually recommended to have a 5-page resume uploaded to a common app, I sort of almost feel bad for that person that that's what they interpreted. Now, maybe they're just another consultant out there that's posing under some other name, which I wouldn't put it past some individuals, and just spouting out misinformation about how I'm old school and how, you don't need a resume or a thesis or whatever. But ultimately, and so maybe they're actually intentionally trying to throw out a red herring. But I think it could just be an unintentional red herring based off of misinterpretation. And what that teaches me is you have to be as specific as you possibly can in what you share. And individuals hear what they want to hear, and they start imagining ideas from what they hear, the words you speak. And then sometimes those words that you speak create new words in their brain, and they associate things with you that you actually never meant to say and that you actually didn't say, which is actually interesting and really a fascinating sort of human psychology lesson for all of us. But in any case, if you ever go on Reddit and you want to talk about me, just talk about me nicely. Please do. And also you can, of course, state, and I would state too if I ever joined Reddit. I'm actually not on Reddit. I just searched it when I found out that there was one comment about me on Reddit. I searched other comments about me. But if you ever do share anything about me on Reddit, I'm happy for you to also share the fact that, he is one voice, he is one opinion, he comes to it from one perspective. And there are a lot of different perspectives out there. And I would never claim to have a monopoly on truth or the right approach, or the only right approach to this particular process. As I've stated multiple times in multiple videos, the college admissions process has turned much more into an art in recent years than a science because of the increasing subjectivity of the college admissions process, particularly at selective colleges and universities. So it goes to figure that if a college admissions process has become more of an art than a science, the admissions officers are attracted to all different types of art. And so it makes sense that different approaches would work and different approaches would also fail, depending on the exact combination of readers who are reviewing your application in that particular year at that particular college or university. Anyway, interesting to me. I hope you enjoyed this walk down memory lane as we touched on two topics that I have talked about in previous videos, most specifically, again, the resume, which again, I do to this date recommend how to build an extraordinary extracurricular resume. You can find the link to that below this video, as well as some topics related to the Common App essay and how to start tackling that in the most effective and efficient way possible. My name is Craig Meister. If you want to work with me throughout or even for just part of the college admissions process, you can go to my website, collegemeister.com. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free throughout the entire college admissions process.